Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dr. Cammy and Karen Gokito, where we're working on lifestyle changes, transitioning from the standard American or atrocious diet to keto, carnivore. We're here with the wonderful Mike Collins, the sugar-free man, incredible guy who's helped hundreds, maybe thousands of people, probably thousands of people get over their sugar addiction. And we're here to have a discussion of addiction, and Karen has an announcement to make.
I have committed to never drink caffeine again. Dear Mike, Dr. Mike sugar-free man, he has challenged me to stop drinking caffeine today, June 5th, and so I took him up on it, said okay.
Very good. Super cool. So we're gonna watch Karen go through that transition and the recovery from that. She drinks it every day, 3 glasses of tea a day. It's associated with her eating out. When she goes to eat out at Mrs. V's restaurant, when she shows up, the iced tea automatically shows up because they know that she drinks it every time. So she's going to be saying to them that she no longer drinks iced tea, and they'll be bringing her, I don't know, I guess water, maybe lemon water.
Just regular water is fine. I like regular water.
Fine. All right. Very good. So
So
we're going to be
in this transition, I will tell you this, Mike. I've done a little research on fizzy water, whatever, carbonated water. I don't remember where I found this, but I did find something that said that they believe that carbonation is addictive.
I believe it, man. It was one of the biggest wrestling matches of my life. At getting off of carbonated water. Yeah.
So just because I was saying, you give up soda and you go to the carbonated water, and it's never agreed with me. I can get through, whether it's flavored or unflavored, back in the day, probably when you did it, like for me, there was no flavor. You flavored it yourself. Now there's all these, flavorings for them. But I'm glad that have you ever seen any studies on it or anything?
No, I read about it, but I also went through a true healing of some sort because I had this brain thing going on. It was like on the right side of my brain for it happened twice because I tried it twice. I quit and I went back. And then I would be dizzy in the morning. So I know it was doing something to me. It wasn't real exaggerated or anything, but I could feel it.
I think could that have been like it did something to the pressure, the electrolytes in it, the sodium and the calcium. I think there's calcium in it.
I think so. I mean,
or
chloride.
I think
yeah,
there's some minerals.
And I think sometimes, some of the Topo Chicos and the things that they have artificial, like I don't know what it'd be the same. There's a very rare breed anymore where you actually have carbonation coming out of the ground. I think maybe a little of that's not going to kill you, but the one where they're force injecting it into regular mineral water, I think there's got to be something it can't be good. That can't be good.
I didn't know they did it that way.
Yeah, most of them, 90+% are injected afterwards, and they're not necessarily the ones that come, like originally Perrier. I'm not sure where Perrier stands right now, but originally it came out of the ground.
Right.
And there are still a few like that. They're pretty rare and they're pretty expensive.
All right. Well, I'm not going to that. I'm just drinking tap water.
This is a good challenge. No, it's a really good challenge. And I'm very interested in how you feel during it, because the common thing is the anhedonia, the inability to feel joy, the lethargy, the lack of energy, and true depression. Like there's true blue feelings you really do feel. I've never told the story on this show, so I'll tell it now, but I was dealing with an Olympic athlete. Candy started before, but I don't think you have. So I was dealing 7 years ago with an Olympic athlete. She had won a bronze medal in the Olympics, in swimming. By this time, she's a chiropractor, had a couple kids, and she just couldn't get off the sugar. I mean, she just couldn't stop the sugar. I did my regular 90-day engagement. We got along famously, but she couldn't stop. She just kept failing, and she couldn't understand it. Well, selfishly, I wanted a testimonial from an Olympian, right? And so I continued for free to coach her. Well, about the 5th month, we were having a discussion, and she was telling me about training for the Olympics and how she'd been doing it her whole childhood. And that at 10 years of age, the coaches were giving her coffee for performance in the pool. and they, obviously was loaded with sugar. She was just a kid.
I'd be performing in the pool too, but not probably the same way she did.
Exactly. And so when we figured that out, she because the whole wired together, fired together. The reason I confronted you earlier about the tea is because I saw very clearly a, uh, an addiction transfer, a change over in your addiction, that you've done well in quitting sugar, but I don't know if you ramped it up or just continued with the tea, the unsweetened tea. And it really, and I've had a coach do this, Coach Rena, she's very vocal about it now, but she thought I was crazy early on, and she quit sugar, flour, lost weight, became one of our coaches, the whole thing. But she was still drinking unsweetened or, black coffee or whatever. And then she quit, and she went through what I'm describing physically, emotionally, and changed a lot in her codependency recovery with her husband, because she was more aware, but she slept better, anxiety was less. And this is someone who had been off of sugar and flour for 2 years. So I've had every iteration of people. That's one of the reasons I asked them to quit the caffeine during the detox, is because it's wired together with coffee, it's wired together with tea, and it's wired mostly, importantly, for most people who don't think they drink it, with chocolate. And so when you get the one, you get, my favorite saying there is, it keeps the cravings alive, right? And so, yeah, I mean, it's a really good, I'm commending you 100% for doing it. It's an amazing transformation, and you'll see it. And I just really want you to journal your feelings during it. I mean, when you're hungry, when you're craving, when you've got to have the conversation with your favorite waitress, tell us what happens during this process, because minus the sugar on the carnivore diet and the flour, you're going to have a different kind of isolated perspective. I think it's great.
Now, what do you think? So when you say wired and fired,
Wired together, fired together are talking about the same brain reward chemicals: the dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, GABA, oxytocin, adrenal glands, endorphin, cannabinoid receptors, endocannabinoid receptors. All of them are affected by both drugs.
now I have a theory that with carnivore, my theory is that ancient human beings started as carnivores, and that's how we created the human brain grew. We used tools, etc. Now it may be a theory by one person. I should start writing it down now, but chat knows about it, chat GPT. I believe that as soon as you put in any plant product, you start from where your body works, the way a body has to work when it's 100,000 years ago, right?
100%, I agree.
So as soon as you put something in, something changes. And I don't think that for the most part, the world around when ancient man was hunting and gathering, I don't think they were eating plants. To me, it makes no sense. I mean, first of all, the whole idea about the chemical defense system of plants is just not that easy, right? I mean, it's just not that easy. If you lived 100,000 years ago, you've got other things you're doing, right? You're building fires, you're walking around, you're traveling. It's like, oh yeah, let me go dig up a root and eat it. No, it's just people didn't even eat every day, right? It's clear now that people were not eating every day. And so I think their lives were totally different. And I don't think that people today can, for the most part, most people cannot even begin to understand what that concept is. And what you're saying to me is coming to the top of my mind, Mike, because if I don't have the tea, like I have to journal right away. Because if I don't have the tea, I have to look at what compels me to do it and drink it, etc., in the morning, because it's always in the morning. And sometimes I'll have some during the day, but I don't even feel like I have to drink that much. I just drink a lot more in the morning. You're telling me I'll go through some stages without having it in my system anymore. So the question is, are those stages still, so is the thing that's going to arise after it's out of my system and I no longer have the addiction, is that there and just being covered up, or is that newly created when it goes away?
No, the answer to your question is exactly what you have been fighting against railing against in the last podcast, you're going to be going through viscerally what Cammy's going through now. You're going to be going through it viscerally because you're right that we are so sensitive. The new book, or it's not that new now, Dark Calories. I just interviewed Dr. Kate Shanahan, Dark Calories. She had a great quote in that book, and she did it in her talk, said it in our interview, is that we took 1 billion years to get here, and we have the most advanced sugar sensing instruments in the world in our body, because we were supposed to get a little bit of that crab apple or a little bit of that nasty little berry when they were ripe. But that was only once or twice a year, and then once a year maybe get a little honey. And we would want to sense that. We want to be able to find it and remember it. So a system was built for that. By the same token, what you're describing is true. The ability for the human body to sense caffeine or sense the brewed down drug from the seeds or what have you, the plants, is so powerful that it does transmute and transmit, like the sugar has over the last 300 years, into a full-blown addiction that is as powerful as drugs and alcohol at numbing what Tammy it was and is describing, and what Tammy is struggling with in that addiction, right? And so you're going to go through that. And I'm very curious, a lot of people say, well, I didn't have any problems. There was no withdrawals and stuff. Hey, more power to you. But if you're honest with us, I think we'll go to another level here in your understanding viscerally of the addictive process and the addictive recovery process.
Well, here's the thing. I totally know that I go to Mrs. V's. That's my escape from where I'm at.
There you go.
But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Is that going to still be there? Because I need to be away, because if I'm not away, if I hear my mom, I go see her.
Okay, so the first thing you do, like all of the recovery process that we're talking about, the first thing you need to do is you need to find substitutions, whether it's the gym or something, whatever, that when you are away from your mom or whatever you need to get away from. You just mentioned that it becomes your respite, your peace, or whatever. That it involves a drug is telling, but you do need to find a walk or a run or a yoga class or something different that will substitute for that place of peace, right?
Well, I could just go to the restaurant and just not have my
Well, let's see if it does the same, has the same effect. Let's see if it has. That's a good idea.
I think it's interesting that Mike brought up the gym for you, Karen, because we've been talking about that.
Yeah, I keep going back and forth about the gym.
Before we go on, we need to repeat. Let's see if the visit with water has the same calming effect or the same escape effect that you have had.
So do you recommend I continue at least for the next week, continue my current schedule of going to Mrs. V's?
I do.
Okay.
And you have to have a difficult discussion because they are going to ask, why? What happened? They probably call you the iced tea lady, likely. That you have to have a discussion with them. They said, don't bring it because you don't want it on the table. Let me tell you.
No. See, that's different, Mike. See, I like the challenge. It'll be, no, take this away. I never drink it again. And then I will say, because the sugar-free man says it's a drug and I'm addicted to it and I don't disagree with him and I want you to take it away and never give it to me again.
Okay, so I want to know, Karen, how confident are you that you'll be able to do this?
100%.
Good question.
And so
that's a challenge right there.
Why is it that you're so confident? How are you so confident? Why
I've done it before. I've done it before because
your statement was that you were going to quit drinking caffeine forever, and you haven't done that before because you're drinking caffeine now.
I can still make the statement, Cammy.
Well, right, but you wouldn't be you wouldn't be sticking to it because forever is.
You're right. You're right. I can say I'm never going to drink caffeine again, and I could drink caffeine tomorrow. I could drink caffeine 6 years from now. I could drink caffeine 106 years from now.
Right.
But I can make the statement today that I am not going to drink it, and I can say I'm 100% sure I will not.
In this moment.
Because you know what, Cammy? That's okay. And here's the thing. If you find out that I do it, then I was wrong. And that's all.
All right. So I hear you. I understand that.
So I don't live in, oh my gosh, what if I find out they're doing road work in front of my house tomorrow and I have to go get my iced tea? I can't deal with it. I don't deal with it. I just decided, I made the decision not to drink iced tea anymore. Now, if Mike had said, can you make the decision not to go out to eat breakfast anymore? I don't know. Maybe, Mike, that's another conversation that we can have.
All right. So we are very good. We are in this challenge. We are in the new world, a new realm of caffeine-free Karen. And welcome to this world, young lady.
Oh, thank you.
We'll talk next week.
Sorry.